Today on the show, we're going to talk news. You can't laugh through the intro, guys. We're going to talk
We're
news.
very professional.
Our first fan mail, and we're going to talk the season finale of season 1 of Westworld. So, in the immortal words of Han Solo, hold on to your butts. Welcome back to We Sound Like Nerds. This is John.
This is Kyle.
And Jordan.
All right, first up for news, we're going to talk movie news. The Jesus. We need to start this stuff earlier because I'm a mess.
It is past all of our bedtimes.
Yeah. All right, so Guardians of the Galaxy 2 official first teaser trailer dropped. I know they had a sneak peek trailer thing a couple weeks ago, but we finally get our first look at Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I think it looks hilarious and awesome. Baby Groot is going to sell so much merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've also got Drax just hamming it up with Star-Lord at the end of the trailer. Kyle, what did you think of the trailer?
I'm looking very much forward to this. I remember seeing the first Guardians, and I had watched something like the third Thor movie, the second Avengers movie, Guardians, and one other Marvel movie, all within the span of 2 days. And Guardians stood out as by far my favorite of those.
You've seen the third Thor movie?
Sorry, the second Thor movie. Third Iron Man.
Third
Thor
Iron
movie.
Man.
That was the other one.
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to the third Thor movie. It's going to be Thor Ragnarok, so.
When is that one coming out?
Not yet. Soon. It's coming out later.
Slated somewhere in the future.
Because they're doing a Planet Hulk storyline for it.
I did hear that.
Where he's a gladiator type. Jordan, what did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 trailer? I know you liked the first one.
I did. I only saw it once. Don't really remember what happened.
He's a one and done kind of guy.
Yep. I should probably study up more. Yeah. It looks good. It looks funny. I laughed. Groot looks like he's going to be his typical I am Groot self. He's going to save... I bet he ends up saving the day somehow, though.
Yeah, I like that they did the scene from the first one where Rocket was on top of Groot spinning around, shooting everybody.
Oh, yes.
And in this they did. Baby Groot was on Rocket's
in
shoulder.
The prison in the first one?
Yeah.
Classic scene.
So that's exciting. All right, Rogue One has had a couple clips come out. One of them premiered on a late night show. I don't know if it was Jimmy Kimmel. It's usually with ABC, so that's where I assume where it was at. Yeah, for clips and stuff, it's all I need to see. I don't need to see anything else. 2 weeks, I can go see the movie. But, companies always release, 12 TV spots and 16 different versions of a trailer. So for me, this was the last thing I need to see. And the humor's there. I'm looking forward to it. Jordan, what do you think of the clip?
I've been very much a fan of K2SO in just the one trailer that I saw, and in this little clip, I think it's gonna add that little C-3PO element of just humor every now and then, but somehow he's gonna clumsy his way into saving something.
Yeah, he's not as cute as BB-8 from Force Awakens, but his humor.
You don't need a translator for
right,
him. Like,
right.
It's not like he said something funny and you have to rely on one of the other characters to say, oh, he said something funny.
Yeah. It's less physical humor and more the type of humor of... I can't think of the word right now.
It was like C-3PO meets Star-Lord.
Yeah. It's high. It's very high.
It's high.
All right, so also in the news, Netflix introduced a offline mode for a majority of the programs on your iOS mobile devices, iPads, Galaxy S phones, iPhones. If you update to the newest version of Netflix, you can download shows and movies to your device and watch them offline, as long as you have a Netflix subscription. Really cool that they're doing this because not everywhere is covered with, free Wi-Fi. No one wants to use their data. So, better late than never, but it's awesome that Netflix, this huge business, is doing this for their customers.
It sounds like they took a page from YouTube. I think they started doing that as well. They had
Yeah, they have
basically queue up a bunch of stuff and play it once
Right.
once you're not streaming.
and I don't know. I know YouTube Red lets you do that, but I think you have to pay for that.
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. I've never actually. I would never pay for it, so I don't
Yeah.
really care that much.
I love
I've never
YouTube.
even heard of YouTube Red.
Yeah, it's a paid way to watch YouTube, and creators can come out with higher quality stuff.
Okay.
Like those guys at Good Mythical Morning, Rhett and Link, they have their own like TV show on there now
Oh,
called Buddy System. I checked out the first episode when it was free, and it's really funny. Those guys, they're at 17 million some subscribers. They do really good content, and with this, it just lets creators spend more to bring content to their fans. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of YouTube Red because we come from an age of digital content that's so easy to get free. Why do you want to start paying for something that you've had free for so long?
It's the corporate way.
Yeah. All right, we're going to shift gear into games. PSX was this weekend, the PlayStation Experience down in Anaheim, California. It's the third annual conference like this where Sony gets to roll out all of their games that are coming out for the PS4 and I guess Vita, but I don't think anyone really talks about the Vita anymore.
Nobody cares about that anymore.
No, it's kind of dead technology. So we'll kind of build up to like the bigger titles. Might as well start with Ni no Kuni 2. It is a sequel to Ni no Kuni, and it's a funny JRPG game, but it was styled in the Studio Ghibli. I think I'm saying that right. Studio Ghibli? Studio Ghibli.
The giblets.
Animation studio. And they did movies like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke. Princess Mononoke is probably one of my favorite films of all time.
It's a great one.
Amazing. And you get to play through a game where it looks like you're playing through a movie. They have these beautiful hand-drawn animation cutscenes. I don't know, hesitant to play this next one. I don't know. It's not for everybody because it's a JRPG, but the art style is absolutely beautiful. I showed you guys the trailer just before we got started here. Jordan, did you have any thoughts?
no.
None at all.
Yep.
You're in timeout. Kyle.
I prefer my stories to be a little bit more mature, a little more graphic. So, I don't have a PlayStation, so I probably won't be playing this one.
That's true.
But it looked good.
Hey, the kid in the first one, his mom dies. So that's
heavy.
graphic. That's heavy. But then you go around mending broken hearts, so who knows?
Like a human Care Bear.
Yeah, it's definitely, for a JRPG, it's a very E10 rating from the ESRB. So
Not that those games are bad. It's just, I'm
No.
used to shooting things and heads blowing off.
yeah, Sephiroth stabbing people
Yeah, there you go.
through the spine,
Yeah.
killing them. No Phoenix down.
Didn't need any blood for that one either.
No, you didn't.
It was a good kill.
Dramatic enough. Jordan is lost.
We just totally went to Final Fantasy
This is,
VII.
yep, that's
We
all
went-
over my head.
We went full nerd, like fourth gear nerd, and he's still in first gear. He might be
I'm
idling
still
in the
learning the ropes
in the
of
parking
this.
lot. Another game that I wanted to talk about was Dreadnought has been announced for the PS4. Dreadnought is a ship-to-ship space like team deathmatch game where you have different types of ship classes. There's like a repair ship, Dreadnought. There's like a sniper class ship, and it's dogfighting in outer space with spaceships and I guess close to the planet surface. Saw it first at E3 a couple years ago. And I was like, man, I wish I had a computer that was powerful enough to run it because it looks awesome. But now that it's coming to PS4, or it's been announced to come to PS4, I'm super pumped because it looks like the type of game you can waste an afternoon, playing, blowing up other ships. I don't really remember any games like that through my childhood or younger. Like a ship-to-ship.
Space, not Space Command. Oh, Wing Commander. There
Wing
we go.
Commander?
Yeah.
I guess, Jordan, are you pulling up any photos of
I am.
Dreadnought?
How does it look compared to the combat in No Man's Sky? Because that has ship-to-ship fighting as well, does it?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
It was promised, just not really?
So the camera is actually, it's kind of like an isometric behind your ship kind of thing.
More of a third person rather than a cockpit.
So you can get a better view of what's going on around you.
Nice. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, did they make a sequel to Psychonauts or something?
Yeah, no, so I don't know. I am very excited. So I don't know if it's 6-on-6 or 5v5, but I like a team-based game where your main task is just to kill the other team. So,
Will there be? You think there's going to be any storyline with this, or is it just going to be all online?
I don't know. All of the gameplay footage that I've seen has just been from events where it's, you know, people going there to E3 and stuff and just playing with random people. So yeah. So far I don't know if there's a storyline or anything like that, but as long as you can make shit blow up and look cool, I don't really care about a storyline. Call of Duty players know what that's about.
Oh yeah.
You know, no storyline. So next game, Crash Bandicoot is coming to PS4 in a remastered insane trilogy. It is a remaster of the first three core titles of Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot was like the PlayStation's Mario, basically.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah. I definitely played the first two, but I had to pick and choose what games I was buying way back then, so I wasn't going straight for the Crash Bandicoot. I'm glad to see a well-established platformer coming back to consoles that, you know, Sony's kind of lacking. With Mario, you know, with Nintendo they have Mario. Xbox doesn't really have a platformer.
Not really, no.
Character that they get a milk, but, you know, Nintendo milks Mario every year for more and more.
Oh yeah.
He's
what
a
else
pretty.
we throw him in?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
He's a pretty dry towel at this point that they're trying to wring out. So I don't know. Did either of you guys play Crash Bandicoot?
Way back in the day, I remember playing the first one, but I don't think I went much farther than that.
I never got into that one. I don't even know if I knew anyone that had it.
Boogla
where I
boogla.
coulda-
The
Say
little
that a
tiki
lot.
masks?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
love it. Another game that was announced was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It is the fourth of the Marvel vs. Capcom games, and it will...
Be exactly like the rest.
It'll probably be exactly like the rest. They changed a couple things. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Marvel vs. Capcom is a fighting game with characters from the Marvel Universe and the Capcom Universe. So games like Street Fighter and all of Capcom's IPs versus Marvel. You can mix and match characters. So you've got characters like Iron Man and the Hulk and Thor. Not Thor. Say Jean Grey.
Really?
And Deadpool and Wolverine versus characters like Ryu and Ken and M. Bison.
Zagao.
Yeah, Sagat. You know, duking it out. But they changed the 3v3 combat formula and focusing on 2v2. And it's believed that X-Men characters might be written out because Marvel is doing this whole spiteful thing to their own properties where they don't want the X-Men around anymore. So they might not even be featured in the game. That's just a rumor at this point. But the trailer that we saw was Ryu and Mega Man. Oh yeah, Mega Man's a Capcom title, so Mega Man will be in it. Ryu and Mega Man versus Iron Man and Captain Marvel. So, I don't know. Every time they come out with a new fighting game, Capcom does, you have 4 or 5 versions that end up coming out. So, you know, if you're not a huge fan, wait until the ultimate super deluxe mega version comes out like a year and a half down the road, and you'll probably get all the DLC with it. So, Jordan, did we ever play like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back in the day?
No, I did. I used to work at an arcade where it might have had the original.
Oh, did you have it?
And I played it a couple times there. I couldn't tell you if it was 1 or 2 or...
Okay. 2 was pretty popular. 1 is really hard to find,
It's
so I wonder if it was 2.
Okay, it might have been 2, yeah.
Yeah, I had a Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the HD remake. Not really a remake. They just coded it in 1080p for PS3. Played that on many a long night. The last game we're going to talk about is the one that I'm most excited for. And no, it's not Uncharted: The Lost Legacy or whatever it's called. But Naughty Dog's other IP is finally getting some love. We are getting Last of Us 2. I'm super excited. The trailer has Ellie, now a little bit older, playing a guitar with some blood all over, coming down her face. Then we also have Joel show up, asking, what she's planning on doing, and she says, "I'm gonna kill them all." So I am super excited because that girl has been through hell. If you're familiar with the first game and everything that happens with her and Joel, I'm very excited to see this bloody tale of revenge that we're going to get with Last of Us 2. Kyle, you've never played Last of Us, and Jordan, you've only watched some gameplay, right?
You've played the opening to let me try to hold back my tears.
Yeah, get a grasp of what kind of game Last of Us is. It is probably the most cinematic game I've ever played. For an action game, Naughty Dog tells amazing stories. Kyle, what do you think?
Having never played the game, and really the most of my experience with it is just watching some summary views. I'm just gonna start calling Ellie the female Rick because she looks pretty badass in that new trailer.
Yeah, she starts feisty and she continues her feisty streak all through the first one. So I'm excited to see where they're gonna go with this one. For those of you who didn't play the first game, I don't really want to spoil the storyline in case any of you guys go check it out. But if you haven't checked it out at this point, you can play it on PS3 or you can play the remastered version on PS4. And I highly recommend. It's one of my games that whenever someone asks me, what game should I play? Kyle, are you burping again?
Just
So rude. I'm talking.
I apologize.
It's one of the games that I will always recommend to people if they're looking for something to play. And I'm pretending that I actually still work at Best Buy. All right, we got a new segment. Are you guys excited? We got our first piece of fan mail.
Oh my goodness!
Whoa!
We are so excited. Well, actually, to talk about the first piece of fan mail that we got on Twitter, and you can reach us on Twitter at WSLN Podcast using the hashtag We Sound Like Nerds. Our first piece of fan mail comes from Ken Sizzle at Ken Sizzle on Twitter. His favorite Star Wars memory is going to Walmart to buy the toys. He even did it for Episode 7. I don't remember the last time I bought Star Wars toys for myself. I've bought them for my kids. Never, I don't think. They're not really at the age where they're looking for action figures yet. And I think the last toys I went out to buy were those Power of the Force toys, the second version that came out with the special editions. And I have actually a funny story that I didn't talk about last week. Back in third grade, my friend James and I think our friend Tommy, and maybe even our friend Sam, we had a club called Ewok Club where we would get together, and it was just on the weekends, and we would play Star Wars, and we'd play Super Return of the Jedi on James's Super Nintendo. And yeah, we called it Ewok Club. I don't remember what we did besides playing Star Wars, and we never, held meetings or anything. But
did you have costumes?
We didn't have costumes. No, we just played Star Wars. James had a buttload of action figures, and we'd bring our own action figures, and we'd just have huge battles in his downstairs. So, but yeah, Ewok Club, throwing it back. That was just an aside that I wanted to throw in there. So yeah. First piece of fan mail, Ken Sizzle on Twitter. Thank you for finally talking to us, someone.
You can see how excited we got. So
fan mail means
you guys, if anyone else wants to make us very excited and get mentioned on the podcast.
Not that excited, but pretty excited.
Pretty excited. We're all pretty old guys here, so we're excited about just the attention.
Yeah, we like attention. We don't get enough of it. All right, we're going to get to the main meat of the episode because we are pushing like midnight and we're usually done by 10. We're going to talk Westworld and just an overview of Season 1. Kyle, what is the first season of Westworld about?
It's, so think of Jurassic Park, but instead of dinosaurs, there's people. And
you can have sex with the dinosaurs?
You can have sex with the dinosaurs. Yeah, definitely. Kill, sex, pretty much whatever you want to do.
partner up with the dinosaurs, go horseback riding with the dinosaurs. This actually season 2, we have an idea, HBO writers. Jurassic Park mixed with Westworld.
Yeah.
I want to see some dinosaurs on horseback.
No, you got to ride the dinosaurs.
Oh, you have to ride the dinosaurs? See,
yeah.
I was
You
imagining
ride
like
on
velociraptors riding horses
I'm imagine riding a velociraptor.
while my arms are wrapped around their thick, thin shoulders. So yeah, it's a futuristic park where you can basically do anything, and it's full of robots, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we made Jordan watch the season finale without him seeing any other episodes. Jordan, were you completely lost with the season finale?
You know, I was asking a lot of questions throughout. I was probably annoying the crap out of these guys as they're trying to watch the finale of this show they've invested 9 hours of their life in. And I'm just kind of showing up late to the party.
It was pretty good though, right?
It had me wrapped in as soon as I...
Yeah, I saw your
let's,
hands.
Let's restart that.
Oh, we'll
Wrapped in
restart
is
that.
Not the word I want to
Wrapped
go for.
in. Very sexy.
I was
I'm gonna leave all of this.
I was
in.
swaddled by the show.
Swaddled by a shot. No, I saw your hands go up a couple times. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? The season finale was great. That's one of the best. That's how you do a season finale. AMC, Walking Dead. I'm looking at you. You leave morsels. You don't leave the main course on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, have we discussed your problem with the last season finale of The Walking Dead? Just
Yeah.
on a side note here.
Side note, yeah. We did Crackle episode 2. We talked about it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But enough about Walking Dead. We're talking about HBO, some high quality entertainment. For me, I got a little bit bored. I think 5 episodes in. It's when... Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers for everything here, guys. So if you haven't seen Westworld yet, or if you don't care... wait, I said that wrong. Oh yeah, so spoilers for Westworld here. If you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to be spoiled, I would recommend pausing this and coming back to us in 10.5 hours when you finish the season, if you're starting fresh. Otherwise, keep listening. All right, we're going to talk about spoilers now. When Elsie goes missing, we find out Bernard killed her because Ford told him to kill her.
Yes.
At the end of that episode, I was like, meh, I don't know. We didn't know Bernard killed her, and it was still a possibility that she was going to come back. We didn't know,
Yeah,
what was
they
happen to
really
her.
left it open to interpretation.
Yeah. And I don't know. At that point, I was like, I don't know if I want to invest every week into this. And then I got caught up, and episode, I think, 7, when Bernard's fate is revealed that he's a robot,
Oh, yes.
kind of blew the show wide open, and I was hooked again. And then we got the season finale tonight, and it was a bloody good time.
Oh, yes.
Jordan, what do you think about the violence?
Well, I mean, it's not anything worse than Walking Dead. I didn't think it was anything worse than cable TV.
Yeah, no.
Walking Dead or something like that.
Yeah. It's pretty... I don't know. It's cable tame, I
Yeah,
guess.
in terms of like the gore, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
For most of the kill shots, they cut the camera to the
Yeah.
person doing the shooting and don't actually show the actual...
Yeah, it's kind of great that you're picking up on these things that you weren't picking up on, when we first met. He's becoming a student of film.
They're classy kills.
They are classy. They turn away at the right moments, but
It's no Glenn getting hit with a
Good old
bat.
Lucille.
yeah.
Lucille, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to squeeze in the edits for that as close as they can get, so you basically see him getting hit with the bat.
They seem to make up for it with a lot more TNA, though.
Yeah, they do make up for it with a lot of TNA. Oh, so we finally find out what the maze is, and it's consciousness.
Yeah, they kind of led up to the fact that it was just for the hosts.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say synths because I've been playing Fallout and the synthetic people, they call them
Stop
synths.
it.
Stop
Stop it, Kyle. Yeah, so the maze thing the whole time, yeah, I guess we had a lot of questions answered. William is the man in black. The plan for the
new narrative?
the whorehouse lady.
Oh, Maeve.
Maeve.
Yeah.
Maeve's whole journey was planned. Teddy and Dolores's journey was all planned by Ford who is played by Anthony Hopkins, he might be the longest con man. He's got the long plays set up weeks in advance because that's how long this would have taken to, plan out. And everything that we find out in the season finale just leaves me looking forward to season 2. Kyle, was there any big moment for you that stuck out to you for the season finale?
Pretty much right at the end, and then as once again, spoiler alert, once Anthony Hopkins gets killed, you're just like, I didn't really see that one coming. It kind of leads up to it a few minutes beforehand, but starting the episode, I totally didn't think that was the direction it was going to go. Yeah. So I think that was one of the bigger points to me. But William being the Man in Black was sort of they had definitely hinted at it more throughout the episode.
Yeah, it's probably
the first season.
One of the most popular fan theories.
Yeah, definitely.
Throughout the season here. Jordan, I know you didn't see any of the season, but did any moments stand out to you during the episode that you were like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, even though I have no grounds for expecting anything?
Honestly, it's kind of funny that Kyle mentions that he didn't see Anthony Hopkins' character being killed at the end, because I kind of, coming in, thought that might be a good way to end it, just based on what I'd heard about he wasn't the nicest character throughout the season.
He's terrible.
He's kind of so I kind of actually was expecting that, and kind of when they were going through with Dolores, seeing her talking to herself or realizing it was herself talking to her the whole time. I'm not sure what that was all about, but just if that must have been her realizing she was a robot.
Yeah.
And
finding self-consciousness.
For her to finally, and just me, I guess my theory on this was that Arnold's long play of the whole maze thing? Was it for her to end up killing Ford?
No.
No?
His plan was for them to figure out themselves, for them to find self-consciousness. But Ford was saying, he failed in doing that because Arnold planted the idea of Dolores killing him. It wasn't Dolores' idea. Kind of like in Inception, when they were talking about how you can't make someone else's idea your own. It's difficult to do that. So yeah, Ford figured out a way, make them live these terrible lives for years, for 3 decades basically, until they finally come to a point where he realizes they might be ready to find themselves. So they're able to make the decision for themselves to
rebel.
To solve the maze basically.
So so it was Ford's idea for all that to happen?
Not originally. He didn't know Arnold was doing
what
Arnold was doing 30 years ago. But after seeing what had happened, he realized what Arnold was striving for. And Ford didn't want that in the start, but he came to realize that that would be the only way to keep the park out of anyone else's hands.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying.
He mentions that they weren't ready when...
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Bernardold. Bernardold. So he set them up too soon for trying to be free of their servitude, I guess you would call it. But, it seemed like Ford figured it out and wanted to, once again, play the long game and get them set up for it.
Yeah. My biggest surprise moment was, and I said it out loud just 30 seconds before we got the reveal, but Bernard, when they reactivated Bernard, I was like, so Maeve's whole rebellion was programmed beforehand by someone, and I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is happening.
What led you to think of that or to that conclusion before we saw it happen?
I just the way the show was going with the reveals that we had been getting up to that point, I was like, Ford has an end game, and someone mentions Bernard mentions it actually before when she's like, oh, I pity you, you're waking up and all you want to do is go back to sleep. And he's like, this isn't the first time I've been awoken, that's not the right word. This isn't the first time I've woken up. And Bernard says to her, this isn't the first time you've woken up either, which clicked for me. I was like, oh my God, she's been programmed to do this, and she might have been programmed to do this before, but she never went through with it.
Oh, okay.
Well, her first time, it must
'Cause her
be
daughter.
right
daughter
after
died.
she got scalped on the prairie. It
Yeah.
looked like she wouldn't go into shutdown mode, and she basically just killed herself.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that was the first time he was talking about
Yeah.
it.
We'll
But
edit out
that
that
seemed
first
more
part.
genuine, because I want to say Anthony Hopkins was in the room at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and neither him nor, I'm assuming it was Bernard as opposed to Arnold.
Yeah, because Bernard has that freak out that we see later.
Oh, yes.
We see that moment again where Bernard's like, why would she kill herself?
Oh, yep.
And then he's like, why would she...
That's
why-
right. He does glitch out.
He
That's
starts
right.
glitching out
I forgot
and
about that.
has a spasm. Yeah, we didn't see that this episode, but when the hosts start to glitch, their faces do funny gestures and they stumble over words and stuff
Okay.
until they get reset. So we don't see anything from the Hemsworth brother. His
Encounter with the savages.
yeah.
Yeah.
We assume he's dead, but he was the head of security team, and he went out looking for Elsie's data transceiver
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
But he got met with some savages last episode. I guess the predictions for season 2, we have seen Samurai World.
Yes.
Do you think we're going to ancient
Yes.
Japan for season 2 at all?
Well, back in the old movie, they had a castle world and a Roman world, I want
Yeah.
to say it was. So I was kind of expecting one of those, and some of the enemies that we've seen had much more medieval garb.
Yeah, Wyatt's troops
Yeah, there you
had
go.
weird...
Horns and
Horns
things
and
like
stuff.
that.
It
Something
almost-
you'd expect to see in, like,
You're-
Knights of the Round Table sort of crap. you know?
Yeah, it almost reminded me of the first season of True Detective.
Oh, yeah.
They had really bestial, like...
The paganish
Yeah,
stuff.
pagan. That's what I was looking for. Paganish kind of outfits. Jordan, will you turn into season 2 of Westworld when it comes out?
If I can find someone to let me borrow their HBO, I mean,
That's frowned upon.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
None of
don't-
us do
don't let
that
HBO
here.
We don't do that, HBO.
HBO, we love you. We wouldn't
Netflix,
do that.
We don't share passwords.
I think
Please don't take it away from us.
that's kind of a misnomer, right? Kyle, are you gonna tune into season 2 of?
Adamantly,
Westworld.
I'm gonna be hooked to it. I'm already hooked. I'm gonna have to rewatch the season finale again tonight, I think, just to solidify it in my brain.
It's a good idea. I will be tuning into Westworld, season 2.
so going back to the ending of this last episode, do you think that was Ford's Anthony Hopkins long play the whole time? Did he want himself to be?
When he found out that he was gonna get forced out of the company, he was probably like, no.
Kind of had nothing to.
He had nothing to lose, but also he says it to the head of the board of trustees.
Charlotte.
Yeah, he says it to Charlotte.
Hale.
How do you know I'm not gonna just break all my toys before I leave? And she's, you wouldn't do that.
Oh,
And,
wouldn't I?
and he was, it's kind of a challenge, but he had already lined up all this stuff. He knew that when it was his time to go, it would be when the hosts were ready to find themselves. So he said, to himself, I'm gonna take myself out like Arnold did, but I'm gonna let it be the host's decision.
Yeah.
To
He had that really good quote from Oppenheimer saying, if it takes 10 years for a man's mistake to be fixed, it means they're a great man. Something along that lines. But then he says, it took mine 35 years to get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really was like not long after Arnold gets killed that he's like, okay, this is what Arnold wanted. Maybe we should actually do this. But he knew that it had to get set up for it.
I really loved William's expression at the end when he realized, oh my God, they're free.
Oh, yes. See, now, when you say William, I keep thinking young William as opposed to the man
old
in black.
William,
now, yeah.
man in black.
But yeah, he looked joyful as shit about that. He's like, yes, finally they can fight back.
All right, it's time for our favorite section. We're going to talk about Nerd Out. Jordan, what have you been nerding out about this week?
You kind of skipped out last week. I think I'm going to use my skip out this week. We had my family's Christmas this week, and didn't really get to do much. So
You nerded out on presents.
I did.
What'd you get?
Nothing exciting. I got some PlayStation Network gift cards.
Boom, boom,
That's probably
boom.
my.
That's nerdy.
That's
That
hella
fits in
nerdy.
the nerd column.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to find out what I'm gonna spend those on through our show here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't really look ahead to what's coming out. I don't want to make a snap decision and.
All right, listeners, you need to contact us on Twitter or Facebook and let Jordan know what games he needs to buy with his own money, and we'll have him review them for us on the show. Kyle, what have you been nerding out about this week?
I picked up the new Deus Ex. They had that on sale for the Cyber Monday
Is that
deal.
Human Revolution?
Mankind Divided.
Mankind Divided.
Yeah, and I've only played about a half hour to an hour's worth, but I'm ready to dive into that one.
You're digging it?
Oh yeah.
I think I played the last one, which was Human Revolution, maybe.
Yep.
I don't know. There've been many Deus Ex games, and ever since, is that a Square Enix one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was. I believe it still is. But
Okay.
yeah.
I know it's jumped companies a couple times. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, those games are pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
What I've been nerding out on this week, Season 3 of Overwatch just started on Wednesday, so I got my seeding games done for that, and I realized that competitive shooters are not really my cup of tea anymore. I'm far too stressed out to play games like that, and a game that's where the outcome is based on your work with teammates that you don't know never ends well. If you lose, it's really fun when you're winning, but when you're losing, it's like, oh man, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
I play games to relax, and this is like stressing me out. I have 10 more gray hairs because of my seeding matches this past week. I've also I started Last of Us up again. I got it back in September around my birthday because I had just picked up my PS4, so I was looking for games, and this was back when it was $10, I think. So I'd say I'm only like 3 hours in, but then the Last of Us 2 trailer dropped, and I was like, oh, I gotta crank through it and get excited for
Renewed
Last of Us.
vigor.
What did you guys think about Westworld Season 1, and do you guys have any predictions for Westworld Season 2? Let us know at WSLN Podcast on Twitter, facebook.com/WeSoundLikeNerds. You can also find us on patreon.com/WeSoundLikeNerds. If you feel like supporting the show, you can throw over $1 or $2. It doesn't matter. Or you can throw us nothing. As long as you listen, that's what we're looking for. This is stupid. I hate it. Now you messed it up. That was going to be a good one. That was going to be the one we were going to put in. For We Sound Like Nerds, I'm John.
I'm Kyle.
And Jordan.
See you guys next week.